I would like to take this opportunity to address the groom and pass him a message from Ethan and Warren. They're doing fine, except that they miss their dead father. What do you think you're doing? The restaurant manager snatched the microphone from Miranda's hands. A minute later, she was already sitting in the manager's office. What does it mean? Do you have any idea how wealthy and influential these people are? The man yelled. Trust me, I do. I was one of them until recently, Miranda thought to herself, breathing heavily. Explain yourself immediately. Are you drunk or something? The man wouldn't calm down. I don't drink, the woman answered rather calmly. Then what is it? You'd better give me an explanation right now, or I'll fire you on the spot and make sure that no other establishment in our town ever hires you. It's my husband, Miranda managed to get out. What? What are you saying? The manager was shocked. I'm saying that this man is my lawful husband, who was supposed to have died 2 years ago, but now seems to have risen from the dead, Miranda explained. Are you crazy? Are you having some kind of mental breakdown? You need to get out there and apologize. The man grabbed Miranda by the hand. I'm not going to apologize, the woman shouted and rushed out of the office. She ran into the locker room, grabbed her bag, and rushed for the exit. The guard tried to stop her, but the woman managed to dodge him and run out of the restaurant. She ran without looking back. Having reached the nearest mall, the woman got lost in the crowd. Then she ran into the restroom and closed the door behind her. 8 years ago, the woman's life changed drastically. Miranda used to be a successful athlete, a skier with a rather promising career. She was about to get a coaching position at a very prestigious ski school. Miranda's future was looking bright and cheerful. Then she met him. It happened at the celebration, which was held in honor of the ski school's foundation anniversary. He was a tall, fit, and handsome young man, and incredibly rich. He charmed her. His name was Jacob, and he was one of the co-founders of the school. When he looked at her, her legs gave way. He was her Prince Charming. Miranda truly believed that since fate let them meet, the woman deserved it. She looked great, she was smart, and she knew how to behave among the rich and powerful. That wonderful evening continued in a luxurious hotel room. Miranda understood how it would end, but she was an adult woman and she was single, so she decided to go for it. The woman was mesmerized by the amazing night she spent with Jacob, and he felt the same way. In the morning, as they were having breakfast in the hotel room, he said, Miranda, you seem amazing, but here's the thing. Please don't take it the wrong way. I'm a busy person, so I don't have time for all this courtship nonsense. You seem like a great match for me, so I'll get straight to the point. Will you marry me? Miranda was taken aback by what she had heard, but she accepted the proposal nonetheless. They had the kind of wedding that most women don't even dare to dream about. Then came the amazing honeymoon, which they spent on a cruise ship. It was there that Miranda found out that she was pregnant. Jacob was delighted. After her first son, Ethan, was born, Miranda realized that she loved being a mother and forgot all about her career. It didn't seem to matter anymore. She enjoyed motherhood, the rich and carefree life, as well as her husband's love and attention. 2 years later, she gave birth to her second son, Warren. Sometimes she couldn't even believe that it was all really happening to her. Miranda's life was like a fairy tale. When their youngest son was already 2 years old, Jacob came home one day in a very bad mood. When Miranda asked him what was wrong, he said that he was having problems at work, but that she had nothing to worry about. This went on for over a week. Then, one day, Jacob came home in the middle of the day and told his wife to pack. Take only the essentials. We're leaving. Where are we going? What's happening? The frightened woman asked. I'll explain on our way. They stopped in a roadside motel to spend the night there. Jacob said that he had lost everything. The creditors will take all our assets. We'll be left with nothing. Will you leave me? The man asked with eyes full of tears. Of course I won't. The most important thing is that we're together, and we're all alive and well, Miranda answered, and then hugged and kissed her husband. The woman didn't ask about the details. She decided that her husband would tell her everything himself when he was ready. The next morning, Jacob told Miranda that she needed to take the kids abroad for a couple of weeks, while he stayed behind and tried to save at least some of their money. The man told Miranda not to answer calls from unknown numbers and not to call anyone herself. They only talked through text messages. Upon their return, Jacob was supposed to meet Miranda and the children at the airport, but he never showed up. The woman had to get a taxi. Having arrived home, she saw the notice that the house was seized, but Miranda remembered the back entrance and used it to get inside. She fed the kids and put them to bed, after which she started calling all her friends and acquaintances to try and find out where her husband was and what was going on with him. His cell phone had been silent for several days. Nobody knew anything about Jacob. The next day, the phone rang. The man on the other end of the line introduced himself as a detective and said that he needed to see Miranda. The detective told her that her husband had committed suicide and said that she needed to come in for identification and interrogation. Miranda spent the next couple of weeks in a sort of haze. Endless interrogations completely exhausted the woman. She had no idea what Jacob had done, so she simply couldn't clarify anything. But the worst thing was that she had to identify her husband's body in the morgue, even though his face was severely disfigured. Then there was the funeral. It was so modest that one could think that Jacob was some homeless man with no relatives. All Miranda wanted was to wake up from that nightmare. A week later, the woman got a phone call from a man claiming to be Jacob's friend. He gave her some securities, some money, and a letter from her husband. In the letter, Jacob asked for Miranda's forgiveness and told her to cash out everything she got and leave the city. Miranda got mere cents of her husband's fortune. The woman sold the jewelry she had and moved to another city with her children. 2 years passed. Miranda was working 2 jobs, as a fitness trainer and a waitress in a high-end event agency. She had to work on weekends too. The events usually took place in country clubs, on yachts, or in chic mansions. Miranda didn't miss the wealth she once had, but she did miss her husband Jacob very much. At one of the events she waitressed, a wedding, she recognized the groom as her allegedly dead husband. She got a sudden rush of blood to her head and couldn't get her anger under control. Miranda grabbed the microphone and said what came to mind. And now, she was hiding out in a mall restroom. She was starting to regret what she'd done, as doubt crept into her mind. What if she was mistaken? Maybe it was someone else, not her late Jacob. She wasn't so sure anymore. The woman left the bathroom, splashed some cold water on her face, and went home. Miranda spent the evening with her children, then took a sedative and fell asleep. In the morning, she found a text message on her phone. It was Jacob who asked her to see him. So I wasn't wrong. Miranda made an appointment to meet her dead husband at a cafe. There you are, dear. Seeing her, Jacob extended his arms for a hug, but Miranda made it clear that she wasn't going to reciprocate. Do you have any idea what I've been through? And what about the kids? Jacob sighed. I'm sorry, I had to do it. It was the only way out. Is that so? Why? So you could marry someone else? Miranda was angry. You know I only love you. The thing is, this woman is the niece of one very important person who can help me get out of this hole I'm in. Dear God, I don't even know who you are anymore. I don't want to know what you did, and I don't even want to know who that person was that I had to identify in the morgue. Miranda grimaced in disgust. It's for your own good. Jacob continued to make excuses. Jacob! Oh, I'm sorry, that's probably not your name anymore. The man rolled his eyes guiltily. If you cared about what was good for me, you would have done something very different. For starters, you wouldn't have made a mess of our life, faked your own death, and then married another woman. I buried the husband I loved. The children believe that their father, who adored them, is dead. Let it stay that way. That would really be for our own good. Miranda looked at the man reproachfully. Goodbye. Jacob was about to say something else, but stopped himself. This was the last time they saw each other. Many years passed. Miranda worked hard and trained a lot, which is how she managed to get back into sports. She got a job as a coach at a ski school. Her sons grew up and both followed in their mother's footsteps. 16 and 14-year-old athletes show great promise in skiing. Miranda finally met her soulmate and is learning to trust people again. But that's a completely different story.